Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought, as VCE exams are looming just around the corner, I would do a advice video and just some study tips as to how to study leading up to exams and how to get through the exam period. So exams this year are obviously very different to how I did them. I did them when we were not in a pandemic, so I do not have the same experience. But I do have a lot of advice that I have thought of personally that I did while I was in year 12, and I've also thought of things that my friends did who got really good scores and stuff like that. So I'm going to run you through them and give you all of the top tips to work your hardest and achieve your best possible ATAR. So before I fully dive into anything, I do just want to make a point of saying that your ATAR does not define you. I know at the moment, if you are in year 12 and it's your final year, it can seem really daunting and it seems like the end of the world, but there are so many paths into university, and if you want to make a video about that as well, I'm so happy to. I know that I was a little bit lost at the end of year 12, but it really isn't the end of the world. And you can still achieve what you want to do, but just maybe not in the original way that you thought. But let's get into these top tips. So the first piece of advice I have for you is to have a dedicated study space. If you're watching this during the pandemic, this could mean that you have a study in your house somewhere where you do your work, that you set up at the dining table and do your work for a certain time of day so that no one comes and interrupts you. Or if you have a desk in your room, even doing it in there. If you're watching this post-pandemic, you can also go to the library and use spaces like that to study. But I think just having your own space, somewhere where you can separate yourself from your family, especially because at the moment everybody's home, everybody is in each other's business. You want to be able to separate yourself and really focus on the work that you are doing and the revision that you are doing. So having that dedicated space is so important to make sure that you can easily switch from relaxed mode to study mode. For example, you would not want to study for your exam in your bed because you want to associate that with sleeping, and sleeping is also really important, and you don't want to get them mixed up and then associate comfort with your studying, if that makes sense, because you ain't going to be sitting in a bed when you're taking your exams, I can tell you that much. It's going to be a plastic chair and it's not going to be the most comfortable thing you've ever sat on in your life, and you just kind of have to sit through it and just do it. So definitely get yourself a dedicated space. If you want to decorate it, do that, but make sure that you have a space that is your own. The second piece of advice I have for you is to create a study timetable. Now I know that this sounds a little bit boring, a little bit obvious maybe for you, but having a study timetable is quite important, and especially if you are really bad at time management and stuff like that. Now you don't have to stick to it to a T, you don't have to say at 9:32 I'm going to go and do this, but give yourself a rough estimate of what you want to do in your day and book in blocks of time of what you want to study. So for example, if you're doing English, maths and science, make sure you have a block for English, a block for maths and a block for science. This could be over 2 days, it doesn't all have to be in the one day, but that way you can spread yourself out and you're not trying to juggle heaps of things at the same time. And you can also schedule in breaks, you can schedule in work, whatever you have to do, schedule in time with your family so that you have some downtime, and make sure that you're not just studying 24/7, because as much as marks may feel really important to you, you also have to keep sane and attempt to have a social life. I know it sounds really tricky at the moment, but trust me, your family is your best friend at the moment, and I think they're allowing social bubbles now too, so maybe you could even see your best friend at the moment, but make sure that you try and block in some study time and some downtime. Now the next piece of advice, you're definitely going to roll your eyes at me, and that is fine, but handwriting your notes. Now I know that everyone has their phone and most people have their laptop, all of this stuff, all of these things where it just seems so easy to be able to type it all down. But by handwriting you actually get the muscle memory of it as well, so you are more likely to remember the information that you wrote down, and just having that skill of being able to write quickly is really important too, because with your exam you will not be able to type on a computer. You have a set time limit, you have certain points that you have to reach within the prompts and the questions, whatever it is, whether it's for English or maths. You have to use a pen, use a pencil, and you have to just get it done and sit there and handwrite it. So being able to handwrite and being able to handwrite quickly is really important. So I definitely recommend, if you haven't started already, start handwriting your notes, or at least start revising handwritten, so that you can get into the practice of writing things really quickly. Something else that can be really helpful when you are preparing for exams is to practice on past exams. So there's a website called Vika. I'll pop a little thing of it up here, and Vika basically tells you the study guide, and it shows you past exams, and it also just like tells you all of the main points that you need to know about your topic, so that you can make sure you are covering those main things while you are studying and you're not essentially getting any like useless information. And then with that, you can just practice the past exams, see what they touched on, and then they also have reports of how the last year did. You can see what they missed out on and stuff like that, and it is probably a good guess of what they will be testing you on this year, because if they struggled on it last year, they want to make sure that you build up a better knowledge of it in the next year, and they just keep going like that, and it keeps getting more challenging. And I know it sounds crazy, but definitely past exams are really helpful. And if you run out of them to do online, or you're struggling to find them online, go and approach your teachers. I know at the moment it's a little bit tricky, but ask them to email you a link to an exam, or to email you one, and you can print it out at home. You can give it a go, set yourself a time limit, get it done, and then look at the answers, see where you need to improve on. And just by doing that, you can get used to the time constraints, and you can also make sure that you have all of the key knowledge that you need. Now, this next tip is really good if you want to also keep in contact with your friends while you are trying to study for your exams. So, organising a study group. Obviously, ideally you'd want this to be in person, and if you're watching this post-lockdown, then go ahead, meet up with your friends, make a plan. But at the moment, if you do want to study with your friends, you can either FaceTime them, make a Zoom meeting. I know that if you don't have a membership, it lasts for 40 minutes. So set that 40-minute time slot where you literally do not talk, but you just motivate each other by studying, and you both study at the same time, and you're just writing your notes, you're doing your thing, and you just have the company with you, and it's just a little bit more reassuring. There are obviously going to be some people that you know you won't be able to study well with. Like if I was to study with certain friends, I know that I can just focus on my work, whereas if I'm to study with other people, I know that I'm going to get a little bit distracted. So obviously you want to make sure that you are getting the most out of the time that you are studying, especially if you're dedicating time to it. You may dedicate like a 40-minute gap, but if you're on your phone off and on, you're gonna waste like 10-15 minutes of that, and that is really crucial time. So make sure that the person you choose to work with is a good influence on how you work. However, leading on from that, if you don't work well in a group, a good thing to do is to watch a study with me on YouTube. So there's quite a few like study tubers. I used to watch them in year 12. My favourites were Eve Bennett, Unjaded Jade and Jack Edwards. They give advice on particular topics, and they also do study with me's. I know they did a few live streams, some of them, and you can literally just sit there, turn it on because they've still kept it on their channel, and you just sit there while they're studying and taking notes. They're like working in silence. You just hear like the tapping of their keyboard, the writing of their pencil, and you just sit there and you study too. Either that, or you could listen to like some sort of like ambient sound, some sort of like ASMR white noise kind of thing, which could just help so you're not sitting in complete silence, because I know that can be quite distracting too, because then you just hear for any like little noise and it distracts you. So if you either do a like study session with the online video, or get like some sort of white noise in the background, it can help you to focus as well. And the additional videos that they have are so helpful. I know that I watched quite a few English ones about like how to develop prompts, and I watched a few math ones about how to revise and stuff like that. They just give really good revision techniques. I know that all of them are at university now, but if you scroll down their channel, they do have a lot of like high school related videos. They are all based in the UK, the ones I've mentioned, but the study techniques carry through to an Australian curriculum, which is really good. Now, if you're like me and you get distracted super easily by your phone, there is an amazing app for this. It is called Flora. I'll pop it up here. You can connect on Facebook and you can connect with your friends on it, and basically you set yourself a time limit and you grow a tree, and if you go on your phone, you kill the tree. And it's kind of disheartening when you kill the tree, so it's a really good app because you're more encouraged to make sure you don't go on your phone and that you aren't interacting with technology in the wrong way. But like, I'll show you mine. So I've even been using this for uni because I do find that I can get a little bit distracted, and I say a little bit, I can get very distracted. So I haven't done that much this week, but you can see that I have grown some trees and I have focused for, I think I focused for like 50 minutes last week. And then you can also check out what your friends have been doing. So I have some of my friends on here, and you can make like study groups with them as well with the Flora app, which is good because then you both don't pick up your phone and you both aren't distracted and you both get the most out of the time you are studying. So the next thing which I'm going to suggest to you is an app, and it is useful for a lot of subjects, but I found that it was really useful when I did my language subject. So I took Indonesian, Bahasa Indonesia, and I use the app Quizlet quite often, and it is so good for remembering keywords and key phrases. So basically it's like a, what is that called? Not a postcard. It's like a cue card basically, but it is digital, and you can like play games where you have to match them up, and it makes it like fun studying. So you could use it for like quotes for English and pair the quote to the novel, especially if you have to compare two books. You can also use it for languages like I did, where you have to remember key phrases and key messages. And I think there's probably ways to use it for other subjects, but those are the two that I mainly used it for. But definitely check out Quizlet, as it is so handy. Now the next tip might almost be the most important one, and that is to make sure you reward yourself after you study. So say a movie comes out and you're like, I really want to watch that movie, I'm gonna watch it and then I'll start studying. Don't. Just don't. You're going to be less inclined to study and actually give the studying your all. And I know, like, it's so tempting, your laptop's right there, your phone's right there, but if you watch the film and then you begin studying, you're just going to be like relaxed and honestly in a cannot be bothered kind of mood. But definitely, if you can, make sure you reward yourself after, because otherwise, if you reward yourself before, you're rewarding yourself for no work, and then you kind of get in the habit of that, and then you're less likely to study and strive to achieve your best. Now the next thing is to make sure you prepare for your exam day. Now I know obviously by studying you are preparing, but make sure that you look at the things you'll need, the things you're allowed to take into the examination room, that you know the date of your exam, and that you don't necessarily have to have a countdown, but just be aware of how close the exam is. Having that plan and having that preparation just makes it a lot easier and a lot simpler in your mind. You don't have as much stress if you are just simply like having it all sorted out and going there knowing what's going on, if that makes sense. I feel like I worded that really bad. So like set yourself up a calendar, set yourself up like a countdown or something. Just make sure that you know when your exam is, what you need. Get yourself a list, get yourself sorted. Set up your exam pencil case if you need to. You might even need a clip lock bag. I don't know if you're allowed to take a pencil case in. It keeps changing, I have no idea. But definitely give it a go. Make sure you don't have your phone in the exam, because that is absolute catastrophe. You do not want to do that. And just make sure that you know what you need and that you're all sorted before the big day, so that you're not stressed on the day, because that is the last thing you want. And the final one, which is quite important also, is to make sure that you are sleeping properly. Now I know you probably think, oh, I'll just like cram at the end, I'll give it 2 days before my exam and I'll just have an all-nighter and I'll cram. Please don't do it. You really need to make sure that you get sleep. It's really important, and it makes sure that you focus during your exam, because you don't want to be in there half awake and struggling, and then you think, why didn't I just get a full night's sleep last night and start studying any earlier? Like, you'll drive yourself insane in your mind. So just make sure that you are having a good sleeping pattern, because it is really important. And my final advice, I thought that was the final, but I just thought of one. Start now. Make sure you start early. Don't have any regrets by getting to the day and thinking, oh, I could have started a week earlier than I did and I would have known so much more. If you're already thinking about exams, start studying for them. Even if it's just a little bit every week, like 1 hour in every day that you just do something to study for your exams, starting now is better than never starting at all. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to smash a huge thumbs up and comment down below any other exam tips that you have for your friends or anyone else that might be watching this video. Good luck with your exams. I know they're like coming up quite quickly, but you've got it, you'll smash it, and your ATAR does not define you. Period. But yeah, subscribe for more content and I will see you in the next one. Good luck guys, and I love you all. Bye!